Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
The C word is stirring up drama within Bexar County. We spoke with the person who allegedly said it and the person who it was allegedly said about. Coming up tonight on the Nightbeat.
The Bernie Little League baseball team is headed to the World Series. Tonight on the Nightbeat, we sit down with one of their coaches and trainers. We talk city excitement and how the community is stepping up to make sure the boys' trip to Pennsylvania is possible.
And of course, we have the heat. We're going to tally up more triple-digit days, but also a glimmer of hope for some rain. We're going to take a look at that in a moment.
But first tonight, a slur that's used against women is now at the center of controversy in Bexar County.
A man lost his opportunity to serve on the Bexar County Advisory Board after he was accused of calling a county commissioner the C word.
And tonight, he spoke with the night team's Zaria Oates.
This letter is a complaint to Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai from Edward Pape. Pape is on the board for small minority and women-owned businesses here in Bexar County, also known as SWIMBY. In the letter, Pape says he and other board members overheard SWIMBY appointee Christopher Forbrick refer to Bexar County Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores as a crusading C word.
My initial reaction is that I have experienced sexism and racism as the only woman on this court and as the first woman of color.
Did you or did you not refer to Ms. Clay Flores as a crusading? But did you or did you not refer to her that way?
I had a conversation about my political involvement in the race in a private conversation. I'm uncertain my exact expletives. I was upset, sure. I don't remember that I used that word.
But detailed letters from Edward Pape and County Director of Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Renee Watson, refer to Forbrick's language as crude and slanderous.
There are witnesses who wrote letters and signed affidavits.
Forbrick was initially Commissioner Tommy Calvert's appointee to the SWIMBY Advisory Board. Calvert has since rescinded the appointment, but Forbrick says that's just part of the fallout. He posted on Facebook saying his house was, quote, shot up, and he called the suspects political actors related to Bexar County. However, Forbrick did not provide KSAT with a police report.
We heard gunshots right outside of my front living room, 7 of them.
And has that ever happened before?
There have been other incidents of gunshots at my house twice.
While several other people were named in the letter regarding Forbrick's alleged statements about Clay Flores, board member Pape sent KSAT this statement regarding the outcome. Quote, I really feel like under the leadership of Judge Sakai, the court put the matter to rest yesterday, and the advisory board can now concentrate on moving forward.
We will not tolerate language that is sexist, racist, classist, or language that incites violence.
Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Do you feel like you guys are being singled out, scapegoated?
Well, by all means, since the very beginning, sir. I've been scapegoated from the very beginning. These are my children too, and people don't understand that.
Do people understand that? He was in charge of protecting the students and teachers at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022. Instead, 19 children and 2 adults were killed by a gunman on Pete Arredondo's watch.
So tonight, the former Uvalde School District Police Chief and his attorney spoke with CNN. By the way, this was his first interview since he was indicted on multiple counts of child endangerment.
Back in June, Arredondo and former school district police officer Adrian Gonzalez became the first law enforcement officials criminally charged in connection with the deadliest school shooting in Texas history.
Arredondo and those who responded to Robb waited 77 minutes to confront the gunman. Tonight, CNN's En La Bandera asked the former Uvalde CISD police chief about his thinking that day.
The protocols of, as I understand it, of active shooter training is you go after the gunman and you focus on the gunman until he or she is taken out. That didn't happen in this case. Why not?
We couldn't, again, you can't see what's on the other side of a wall. At that point.
But you're supposed to get through that wall.
Right. You can't see through it, first of all. So when we were shot at and we backed off to think, okay, now we know where he's at, because we didn't know where he was at. That's when we took fire and backed out and realized, okay, now we need to come up with a plan to get back up there.
During tonight's interview with CNN, Arredondo refused to look at video from that day, video in the hallways, video of himself. He also maintained that he and his team of law enforcement did the best they could with what they had.
We all know this is going to be a lengthy legal battle going forward. When Arondo and his lawyer were asked if they're going to request a change of venue in that upcoming trial, they said they're inclined to keep it in Uvalde so that the public can hear what Arondo has to say.
He's accused of crashing into a school bus in a horrific accident that killed 2 people, including a child. Tonight, 42-year-old Jerry Hernandez has officially been indicted and is facing 2 counts of manslaughter and 2 counts of criminally negligent homicide. This accident happened back in March in Bastrop, not far from Austin. Hernandez driving a concrete truck that you see right there when he swerved into a Hays County District school bus. 5-year-old Ulysses Rodriguez Montoya and UT student Ryan Wallace were both killed. State troopers said Hernandez admitted to smoking marijuana and using cocaine the morning before the crash. Imagine paying for rent, which includes water service, only to get your water shut off. It's unfair, but it can happen. It does happen. And 2 San Antonio council members want to change that. Marina Alderete Gavito and Jalen McKee Rodriguez want the landlords to be punished instead. The landlords to be punished. The issue is many tenants don't pay their water bills directly. They're bundled into their rent payment. So landlords have to pay the utility company. But if they don't, the tenants lose their water service. So the 2 council members want SAWS to fine the landlords instead. Council members Melissa Cabello-Haverda and Dr. Suk Kaur and Mark White agree. We'll let you know what city leaders do next.
Tonight, we're rolling out episode 2 of Your Voice South Texas, and this time we're going east to Seguin in Guadalupe County. Usually that area leans conservative, like many parts of Texas. It's also grown in the last 5 years, which could explain why the people that you're about to meet have a range of differing political opinions on everything from abortion rights to the economy. Confession, I love Seguin. This is one of my favorite places in South Texas to visit for 2 reasons. One, it's just beautiful. I love historic homes, and when you're driving into town, you realize that Seguin is pretty spread out, but there are a number of historic homes here, beautiful Victorian homes that have been well preserved. So you just get that sense that this is an area that very much values its place in history. And number 2, the people. You're about to meet them. We're here at Pecan Town Books and Brews in downtown Seguin, a really nice place. It's sort of a bookstore and also a cafe, and I'm really excited for you to come in and meet the people of Seguin.
We like the pace of life here. People are friendly. Still get to wave at your neighbors, and it's good. We enjoy it.
It's very pleasant. It's welcoming. It's friendly. It feels very community and family oriented.
You worry about the future. When you think about a lot of the issues affecting people, what are the things that you worry about?
Global warming and all this stuff, you have to think about stuff like that because we have kids. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter and an 8-year-old grandson, so I try to think about what is going to happen to them. You know, we've lived through a lot, so I just think about them.
That person that I'm going to vote for president for 2024 will be Trump. I voted for Trump last year, and the year before, or the 2016, and we will vote for him again.
I do think Trump tends to be more divisive, and I think the Democrats are a little lost right now. So
I was born and raised evangelical. I grew up going to different Republican events and learning more, and I voted for Trump in 2016, and I did not vote for him in 2020 because I did not agree with what happened. And so this next election, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. And I would never have told you I would have voted for a Democrat even 4 years ago.
Yeah, you just can't really judge a book by its cover there. I mean, people just have a range of differing opinions. You can scan the QR code to watch episode 2 of Your Voice South Texas. No matter where you stand politically, you are bound to hear from someone who shares your views. It's interesting stuff.
The Fiesta's still a ways out, but tonight we got our first look at the official 2025 Fiesta Flambeau poster. Take a look for yourself. This is video from just a few hours ago at the big unveiling. The Flambeau poster theme this year is deep in the arts of Texas. By the way, the Fiesta Flambeau Parade will kick off on May 3rd, 2025. Cannot wait.
Wow.
All right, if you haven't heard, the Bernie Little League team headed to the Little League World Series, and the town couldn't be more excited. Next on the Nightbeat, we're going to show you how the community is coming together to get that team to Williamsport.
By this time next week, the Bernie Little League baseball team is going to be in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Yes, they are. They have earned the chance to represent the Southwest region in the Little League World Series. And as the night team's John Paul Barajas shows us, the community stepping up to help get them there.
Your team is down, but the bases are loaded and you're at the plate. And bang, grand slam, the crowd goes wild. It's a scenario many of us played out in the backyards as kids, but for the Bernie Little League team, it was reality. They rallied Tuesday night to win their spot representing the Southwest region in the Little League World Series. Now the community is rallying behind them.
It's absolutely nuts. Like the play, that was the loudest I've ever been at a youth baseball game. A great moment. Highlight of the season for sure.
It might have been the highlight of the season for head coach Justin Newsom, but for a growing fan base and community that has seen the team literally grow up in front of their eyes, they hope the best is yet to come.
And for a small town like Bernie, it's really neat. I mean, it's kind of putting Bernie on the map, and it's crazy that a bunch of 12-year-olds are making it happen.
Jason Marshall helps train a majority of the team, and like other locals, including three-time MLB World Series champ and Free Roam Brewery owner Jeremy Alfeld, they're feeling the buzz around town.
Excitement and the hands being thrown up and just grown adults jumping around for these kids.
But the price of victory isn't cheap. The team will fly to Williamsport, Pennsylvania this Friday.
5 nights in a hotel room for all these kids. You got to buy food, travel. Now you have to go to Williamsport. Now you're going East Coast. It's not cheap. This community needs to help out. Like, they're representing Texas. They're representing our state, and they're from our town.
Affeld says he's teaming up with other local business owners to plan a fundraiser, but that the team is already accepting donations. Bernie is scheduled to play in Williamsport Thursday, August 15th.
Regardless of how this turns out, man, those little boys are heroes.
Just major league advice for these 12-year-olds?
Man, have fun.
Let's go beat them. Let's go try to beat Florida, California. Let's have some fun.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
I think if they move, that's going to be a huge mistake for this part of the town, this community.
From one area baseball team to another, lots of talk about the San Antonio Missions and plans for a new downtown ballpark in the future.
So you just heard from one fan right there who lives near the team's current ballpark, Nelson Wolf Stadium, and they don't want the Missions to change venues.
No, they don't. And for many, the games at the Wolf are a tradition for families and businesses on the west side. Now, pending the city council and county commissioners' court approval, there will be a new stadium.
So that new field would be built in the downtown area by April of 2028. Those plans would also include a possible parking garage.
Yeah, many of you have been commenting on our Facebook page about this story, and some of you aren't happy with the thought of the team leaving the Wolf.
Yeah, one person said, quote, every car in the parking garage is going to be on I-35 at rush hour downtown. Enjoy, end quote. And another person said, quote, moving it downtown only means one thing to me. No more going to the games, end quote.
There are also a lot of people who are weighing in favor of moving it downtown. So we want to know how you feel. If you go to ksat.com/poll, you can weigh in right now. We asked, do you support moving the Missions Ball Club downtown?
And it looks like a majority of you are saying yes. 68%. We're looking at the poll there at the bottom. 68% of you say yes, you're in favor of it. 32% of you say no.
Yeah, by the way, this was reversed when we checked this at 6 o'clock.
Right.
There were 70% that didn't want it moved and 30% that did. But a lot of people say having it downtown just makes sense.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if this changes in the next few hours, but obviously it's going to happen by April of 2028. So, all right. Now, we wanted to, I remember that one of the people there were talking about how much traffic trouble is going to be in the downtown area when that happens. Well, from one traffic trouble one way to the other way, which is this is right here, live cam. near the San Antonio airport. You probably heard earlier today that hundreds of flights were delayed because of trouble from Tropical Storm Debbie. Debbie with a Y, Adam.
With a Y.
A few flights we checked out of our airport, and they're delayed tonight, just 3 of them. But so it looks like we didn't do as badly as other airports.
It's going to be, it's basically now just a lot of rain that's going to be running up the East Coast from South Carolina through North Carolina into Washington, D.C., BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport as well, and then points northward thereafter the rest of this work week. I want to talk about our triple digits and then get into a glimmer of hope for a bit of rain just around the corner. 102 again tomorrow, right near or just above 100 the next 7 to even 14 days, to be honest with you. This is from the Climate Prediction Center, and it's another indicator of what our trend is favored to be, above average in terms of temperature. And keep in mind, this is the warmest part of the year when it comes to our average high temperature, which is up to 97 now. We made it to 102 for the high temperature today. That's 3 degrees below the average. 3 degrees below the record, well above the average of 97. And we're going to stay above average, but it's even hotter off to the west. At Del Rio, 109, that tied a record for the day. 109 Carrizo Springs, Cotulla made it to 106, and tomorrow, I think we'll see similar readings. Our count is at 13, 100-degree days, but I always like to put it in perspective, a far cry from where we were this time last year at 42, and this time a couple years ago we were at 56. 79 in the morning tomorrow, 95 at noon, 102, I think, again for the high temperature. But keep in mind, for a few hours in the afternoon, it could feel like it's about 4 to 5 degrees warmer than the air temperature. We'll make it to 103 Hondo, 107 Cotulla, 107 Eagle Pass, and Del Rio at 108. Welcome back, summertime heat. It's here. We had a good break in late July, but it's back. You see those high temperatures above triple digits for the vast majority of our area. Upper level heat high, the big blue H that likes to hang overhead and push down on us. Well, it's here. It's going to drift a little bit on Friday, and that's going to open the door for a weak frontal boundary to drop into Texas. And I think we'll have enough instability and moisture in the air to where if this boundary can just make its way close enough to us, it could help kickstart some showers. And the Futurecast is now starting to pick up on this. The high-res computer models are starting to pick up on this potential of a few widely separated pop-up showers and downpours, kind of similar to what we had last weekend when we had some of those showers pop up. Not a huge chance. Right now, we're talking about 20 to 30%, but at least there's some potential. You see the main rainfall potential East Coast. That's because of Debbie still dropping rain. And around here, North Texas with that boundary, the Panhandle, and Oklahoma for sure. They're going to see some better rainfall. But even around here, we could be on the tail end and just squeeze out a few of those widely separated downpours popping up. That would be Friday afternoon into the early evening on Friday. Don't cancel any outdoor plans, not that kind of a thing. If you're lucky enough to get a shower, you just duck inside for a brief period of time, and that's about it. So cross your fingers for your neighborhood. I'll have an update again. Justin will have an update in the morning. I'll have an update tomorrow evening about the latest with X. We may be boosting those rain chances.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you get the sense that the Cowboys and Rams are going to get to know each other fairly well before they play on Sunday.
Yes, a nice joint practice to get kind of the excitement flowing, I guess. Yeah. We might see a little bit of tensions rise. We don't know, but a candid Jake Ferguson lets us in on what he's thinking. Plus, the Spurs continue adding to their backcourt, the newest addition right after the break. Stay with us.
Third, this could do it. Bernie's going to Williamsport.
It doesn't get old. Bernie Little League earning a spot on the national stage next in Big Board Sports. First, let's shed a spotlight on the Spurs guards. Today, San Antonio acquired 26-year-old free agent Malachi Flynn from the Detroit Pistons. Flynn joins a crowded guard room that includes veteran Chris Paul, Trey Jones, rookie Stephon Castle, Blake Wesley, and another Malachi, but with the last name Branham. Now, the deal with Malachi Flynn is reportedly for 1 year, non-guaranteed. San Antonio currently has 21 players on its training camp roster, and that'll need to be narrowed down by their first regular season game. Flynn played for 3 different teams last year, most recently the Pistons, where he averaged 8 points in 14 minutes per game, highlighted by a career-high 50-point performance in April against the Hawks. NFL teams put out their first unofficial depth charts today, and while this time last year there was some uncertainty at the Dallas Cowboys tight end position, that's not the case anymore as Jake Ferguson looks to build on his breakout sophomore season where he caught 71 passes for 761 yards and 5 touchdowns. After practice today, Ferguson was candid in sharing his confidence in Mike McCarthy as the Dallas head coach is in the last year of his current contract.
Everybody wants to play well. Everyone wants to get to that final end goal, winning the Super Bowl. Like I said earlier, it's 32 teams. It's all the best players in the world, and it's all the best coaches. I'd run through a brick wall for Coach, so no doubt in my mind he's got it dialed in. And I think one of the best things about him is, he lets his players play, and that's something that just fires me up.
Now tomorrow, the Cowboys welcome the LA Rams to Oxnard, California for a joint practice. Finally, both teams will go up against different players and in Ferguson's case, a different defense. And don't be surprised if you see tensions flare.
Fights aren't, too big of a deal. I think its emotions are high. It's a physical game. You try to stay away from the fights. You try to stay away from the punching. You try to stay away from some dirty stuff. But I think nothing's wrong with, grabbing a guy by his pads and holding him and just looking at him and say, hey, maybe, going after my QB like that isn't cool or, something like that. But, I understand emotions get high. It's a physical game.
The season series on the line in Arlington between in-state rivals, the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros. Yordan Alvarez said he surprised himself with this one, a low-liner 117-mile-per-hour home run straight into the Texas bullpen. Gives Houston a 2-0 lead. Victor Caratini also went deep for Houston. The Rangers made it a 2-run game in the bottom of the 6th, but the Astros stayed the course, taking the silver boot for the 8th straight year. Houston now owns a share of the AL West Division lead.
Oh my, everyone in the dugout got so hyped. I think that's the loudest I've ever screamed in my entire life.
It was the Grand Slam heard throughout South Texas. Bernie's Little League team, Texas West, is Williamsport bound thanks to Doc Mogford's game-winning Grand Slam yesterday. Next, the Southwest Regional Champions will continue their Little League World Series title quest August 15th against the Mid-Atlantic Regional Champs. Stay tuned right here in the coming days as we talk to the squad before their departure. The underrated golf tour after the break. Welcome back. 4-time NBA champion Steph Curry founded the underrated golf tour, which is in town at TPC San Antonio this week. Alamo Heights 3-time state champion Julia Vollmer is playing, and her teammate Jordan Sandoval qualified as well. This experience for Julia, though, is a full circle moment.
My first ever competitive golf event was here 11 summers ago at TPC, and so 11, I'm about to cry, oh my gosh. But 11 years later, it was a drive, trip, and putt competition when I was 7 years old, and I'm 18 now, and it was over there on that very range. They could have played any course anywhere else, but the fact that it's at TPC San Antonio just blows my mind. It's not a coincidence, you know what I mean?
So sweet. Julia and Jordan will compete Thursday and Friday for a chance to win the Curry Cup. Well, as the Paris Olympics enter their final week, Team USA leads the way with 94 total medals and has the edge in gold medals over China. Quincy Hall was one of the biggest highlights of the day, capturing gold in the men's 400 meters. Love to see it. Big day tomorrow.
The track and field team is on fire. For Team USA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
All right, I mentioned we've got that 20% chance on Friday, so a little bit of hope Friday afternoon, early evening. Check back in tomorrow because we're going to have more updates, and we may be able to up those odds a little bit.
Now, let's just keep our fingers crossed. Thank you so much for staying up with us tonight.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.